Alright, so as you can see here, we have the Nissan 240SX behind me. And I have some really wonderful news about it, and that is that I have rod knocked it again. This is the third engine that's been in the car since I've owned it. It started with the single cam KA. I think that had a bad head gasket, so I just put a dual cam KA in. There are a lot more options for dual cam KAs in the aftermarket. Rod knocked that motor, bought this motor, put it in the car, it worked, boosted it. Have not even actually been to a drift event where the car's actually worked, and I've already rod knocked it. So, that's pretty cool. So now, right after I figured out this happened, I was like looking, and I was like looking for new KAs, and then I was like, man, maybe I should just get a 350Z, because like, that's what everyone else does, because it's like, they work and they're normal cars, and you can drive them on the road. And I was like, alright, I'm gonna get a 350Z. Went on Facebook, Craigslist, posted S13 240SX Turbo KA part out. And like people were like, yo, I'm gonna buy that turbo setup, I'm gonna buy that angle kit, coilovers, and I was like, cool. And I was like looking at the car, and like I sold some stuff. I sold the bash bar, I sold my old front fenders, I sold my strut tower brace. And I was like looking at the car, just like sitting in my garage like this, and I was like, man, a 350Z is never gonna look that cool. So I'm going to keep the S13 and I'm gonna fix it. And I'm pretty sure the reason why I've had such bad luck with Ks is because I buy the ones that cost $100 on Craigslist that have 200,000 miles on them already. The new motor, it looks like I'm going to be getting. So very shortly after this video was made, there was an abrupt change to the plan with the 240. I'll tell you now, my plan was to put a new KA in it, which was good. It seemed easy. I was going to go buy a new KA, swap it in, and it would have been super easy. Drove down to Pennsylvania 7 hours. Drove back 7 more hours, total of like 15 hours with traffic. Got here, pulled the oil pan off the motor, bunch of coolant came out. I was extraordinarily upset, completely over Ks at that exact moment. Ended up selling the motor for $900. I had bought it for $450 and then driven 15 hours, so like I still made a little bit of money off of it, which wasn't bad. And that's kind of where we are now. So the new motor that I'm going to be doing in the car, I'm not going to tell you now, but it's not a KA, it's not an SR. I'll let you think about what it is. Never came in an S chassis, not a CA, nothing like that. So I'm super excited for it. Should be pretty cool. Should get the car working pretty soon, and I will leave it up to the rest of this video. So pretty much I've decided that the next drift car I'm gonna get is gonna be like a drift car I really want. Like I don't really want a 350Z. Like yeah, it's like cool and I can like drive it, which is pretty cool, and like I can get more seat time. But it's like if I'm gonna like go out of the way and I'm gonna go through like the sadness of getting rid of the S13, which I love so much, I'm gonna get something like that's cool and special and not just the 350Z. Like there's so many cars that like I'd rather have as a drift car that might cost a little bit more, but it's like I'd really like if I'm gonna get rid of this, I want to get something that like I really like and not just like what's there and easy. So yeah, hopefully I can get this thing fixed pretty quick. And my hope is that by the time I leave to get the new engine, I can have the old KA out. So I'm going to do some switching and moving and try and move the 240 from that side of the garage, spin it around, and put it here. And hopefully we can start pulling out the motor. It's going to be super easy. That's one good thing about the KA. I've pulled them out so many times. I'm not worried about it at all. It literally, I could probably finish it today if I like grinded on it, but I think I'm going to take my time with it, try not to lose as many pieces as I normally do, and we'll see where we get. But before I can move the 240 over here where there's a lot more room, and I can put the back there and the front here and have like room for the engine hoist, I'm going to have to clean up all this stuff on the ground here, so we can get started with that.
Tomorrow you got walls to break. Damn. Tomorrow you got walls to break. So take your best shot, take a swing, have it tilted on these drinks. Tomorrow you got walls to break down. Cause tomorrow you got walls to break down. Cause tomorrow you got walls to break down.
So the motor's definitely knocking. It gets a little bit worse once the car like warms up, but definitely can tell it's knocking. I'm pretty sure it's cylinder one. Like I stuck like a piece of metal into the cylinder one spark plug hole, and there's no spark plug, and like I did it to all the other ones as well, and like you could move it down significantly. So yeah, so I put the car into this new angle, and I think there's just like more room to work on it now. Like there's room on the sides, and like we don't have to fit another car in here. And there's like room in the front and like the side. So I don't know. we'll see if it's better. So yeah, now we're gonna go ahead and drain all the fluids out. Start with the coolant, then go to the oil. I guess we can also do gear oil and stuff like that. Just gotta take the transmission out as well. I have coolant in the cooling system right now because the car is in New England and it becomes like well below freezing here. So if I use water, it would like freeze in the cooling system, which would not be so good. But now it's pretty much the summer, so I can probably just use water and water weather when I go to put everything back together. So this oil's probably been in the car for like 3 miles of driving, and there's a ton of metal on it, so it's like very obvious there's an issue. Because there was like an oil leak slightly, so I just went ahead, took off the fitting, a bunch of oil leaked out, so I just went ahead and took all the oil out and put new in. But like, there's a lot of metal in here for 3 miles of driving, so definitely can conclude we had a bad rod bearing. Now that the radiator's pretty much empty, we can go ahead and pull off our coolant lines going to the engine, and then we can pull out our radiator.
3 hours later.
So we have the engine ready to be pulled out. Went ahead and disconnected the power steering stuff, left the pump here connected so we didn't have to like drain all the fluid. Disconnected all the wires, pulled the wiring harness through the little grommet in the firewall. Disconnected the motor mounts, transmission mounts, downpipe, all the intercooler piping, radiators off. Drained the transmission, took off the drive shaft. And I mean, took off the heater core hoses. I'm going to leave all the turbo, or some of the turbo stuff on, and disconnect the alternator, starter, vacuum lines for the brake booster, clutch master cylinder. So, and also took the shifter partially apart. I think I'm going to be able to get it out without completely removing it from in here. I think I'll be able to slide it down. I've always taken it apart, but I don't really feel like doing it now, and I think I can do it this way. And I also left the transmission crossmember on the transmission. Usually I unbolt it, but that's a lot of work. So let's pull it out.
Take a swing, half tilted on these strings. Tomorrow you got walls to break down. Cause tomorrow you got walls to break down. Cause tomorrow you got walls to break down. How's it going, kid? I'm asking how's life? How's the plan to make it all fall?
I should have snapped it out. We can do it. Pressure.
Alright, tell me how mom is. Erica runs in the team, cause knowing you all these questions keep you up all night. Losing sight of your dream, but Jay keeps you in check.